to be salt and light in our world around us. When the world is coming apart, for us to continue to be salt and light, we need to pay attention to the words that Jesus said. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you will have peace. In the world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. We saw that on Sunday. Earlier on in that same discourse in John 15:7, Jesus says, if you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. The dynamic that Jesus is talking about is that his truth finds its place in us, and finds its place in us powerfully, not just sort of casually, not just sort of like putting a toe in, but that we are meditating on it all the time. I ran across this quote by John Mark Comer that I think is so good, referring to this. The problem with modern Christians, he says, is that they have not formed the neuro pathways of Scripture. It hasn't imprinted on them deeply enough. So when trauma comes, they just play the music of the culture: rage, anxiety, blame, whatever. The text of Scripture needs to be so deeply in us that they permeate who we are, and we intuitively operate in the world according to them. That's what we're trying to do here, is that part of being salt and light is feeding our souls on the Scripture and letting the Scripture come into us and have its way with us. That's part of the dynamic of Scripture that's different from all other human literature. It's intended to make its way into us, and by making its way into us, it puts an imprint on us and then begins to form the neural network that we interpret, that we walk through our world with, and it becomes so part of our narrative network on our right brains. It's the primary filter that we filter all of the input from the world into, that because of that, then we respond differently, because the Scripture has become part of us, not just memorized by us, although that's part of it, not just studied by us, although that's part of it. We do this together. We find the Scripture, we read the Scripture, and when we do, it gets into us.